Ever heard of Jagadish Chandra Bose?
Oh, yeah. He's quite a fascinating figure.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into his life. This guy, he made groundbreaking discoveries, not in one, but TWO fields.
Really? Like what?
Physics and plant physiology. Talk about a Renaissance man, right?
That's pretty impressive. Two completely different areas.
Our main source today is an excerpt from this book. It's a collection of encounters with all sorts of fascinating people.
And one of those is Bose.
Exactly. And it starts with this, almost like a casual conversation, where someone mentions that Bose actually invented wireless stuff before Marconi.
So he's kind of like the forgotten pioneer of wireless communication.
That's what we're going to find out.
I'm intrigued already.
So this Bose, he invented the wireless coherer.
The what?
The coherer. It's this device that was crucial for detecting radio waves. A big deal back then.
So he was right there at the beginning of radio technology.
And it's not all. He also came up with an instrument, pretty clever one, to show how electric waves could be refracted.
Refracted meaning?
Bent, basically, like how light bends when it goes through water or a prism. He showed that electric waves could be manipulated in a similar way.
So this guy was a serious innovator. But why the switch to plants?
Well, here's the thing. He was already making waves, pun intended, in physics. But then he shifts gears, goes into plant physiology. It's like he was drawn to the mysteries of the plant world.
Yeah, it's kind of like he saw a connection between those seemingly different fields. Almost like there's this underlying unity to all of life, from physics to plants.
That's a pretty deep thought, and it seems like that's exactly what he was getting at. And this is where his background gets even more interesting. He studied at Cambridge, steeped in Western scientific methods.
That's hardcore science right there.
But he also never let go of his Eastern philosophical roots.
So a blend of East and West in his thinking?
Exactly. It's this unique mix that allowed him to see things in a way other scientists maybe didn't. And get this, he traveled all over, sharing his findings with Western scientific societies.
I guess his work really resonated with people no matter where they were from.
Totally. And then there's his most famous invention, the crescograph. Imagine an instrument so powerful, it can magnify plant movements 10 million times.
10 million? That's mind-blowing. We're talking way beyond what most microscopes can do.
Right. And he used it to show that plants have a nervous system, they respond to stimuli, even have emotions.
Wait, so he's saying plants actually feel things?
That was his revolutionary idea. This book even tells a story about a saint who wouldn't pluck flowers because he believed it hurt them.
So Bose's research was kind of like scientific proof for this ancient belief?
It really makes you think differently about those flowers in your garden.
Yeah, no kidding.
And speaking of things that make you think, there's the Bose Institute in Calcutta. This wasn't just your typical lab. They call it a temple of science.
Sounds pretty grand.
It was. Every architectural detail was symbolic. The gate, salvaged from an old shrine, representing the flow of knowledge from ancient times to modern science.
I like that, connecting the past and present.
And there's this lotus fountain, symbolizing purity, enlightenment. Even a statue of a woman holding a torch, representing the power of knowledge.
Especially for women, that's a pretty powerful statement for his time.
Oh, absolutely. It shows how forward-thinking he was. He also had a temple dedicated to the noumenon built right into the institute.
Noumenon, I'm not familiar with that one.
It's this deep philosophical idea about the ultimate reality, the thing that exists beyond our perception, the mystery at the heart of it all,
So he's acknowledging that there's stuff we'll never fully grasp, even with science.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pretty humble for a guy making such groundbreaking discoveries. It's like he saw science as a journey of exploration, not a quest for absolute certainty.
That's a refreshing perspective.
But not everyone was on board with his ideas. When he presented his findings about the similarities between living and non-living matter, some Western scientists pushed back.
Really? They couldn't handle a little boundary blurring.
It seemed so. They were stuck in their categories.
Yeah.
Bose was saying there might be a fundamental life force in everything, even things we consider inanimate.
He was challenging the whole paradigm. That takes guts.
He was a rebel in the scientific world, called out the caste system in science, and the biases that prevent open-minded exploration. He even said, and I love this quote, "It is often forgotten that he who surrounded us with this ever-evolving mystery of creation has also implanted in us the desire to question and understand."
Beautiful. It's like we're hardwired to be curious, to figure things out. It's in our nature.
And Bose, he lived that out. He was all about selfless service, didn't patent his inventions because he wanted them to benefit everyone.
That's a true dedication to the greater good. Not many scientists would do that.
And his vision for the Bose Institute, it reflects that same spirit. He wanted it to be a global hub for collaboration, open to researchers from all over the world.
Like a melting pot of scientific minds.
The book even describes this amazing demonstration he did with the crescograph. He used it on a fern, showed its growth, how it reacted to different stimuli.
So you could actually see the plant responding in real time.
Like a silent film of the plant's life, including its death. It must have been quite a powerful visual. Made you realize how delicate life is, how even small changes can have a big impact.
Definitely makes you think about the responsibility we have when we're messing with the forces of nature. But hey, we're just getting started with Bose's story.
You got that right.
Yeah.
We still need to explore his work with tree transplantation and that unexpected life force he found in metals.
Sounds intriguing.
It is. It'll make you look at the world in a whole new way, I guarantee it.
Back again for more on Jagadish Chandra Bose. We were talking about his crescograph and all the ethical stuff that comes with scientific exploration.
Yeah, and it's amazing how he used his knowledge to actually transplant a large tree.
With chloroform. I remember reading about that.
Yeah, but it wasn't just a random idea. He had this deep understanding of the tree's circulatory system and its heart.
Fascinating. So he applied what he knew about plant physiology to solve real-world problems.
Exactly. And it all came from realizing that sap moving up a tree isn't just, simple physics.
Capillary action, I think they used to call it.
Right. He showed it was driven by living cells, kind of like how blood pumps in animals.
So his insights from over a century ago are still helping us transplant trees today. Pretty cool legacy.
Absolutely. And speaking of pushing boundaries, let's get into his life force in metals research. This is where things get kind of wild.
Yeah, this definitely stretches the limits of what we normally think of as science.
So he used his crescograph again, right?
Yep, and found that metals, just like plants, react to stuff like chloroform and even poisons.
Really?
Makes you rethink the whole definition of being alive.
So it's not just about growing or moving, but how something interacts with the environment. Like metals have this hidden sensitivity we just don't see.
It really makes you wonder what else we're missing, what other forms of life or consciousness are out there.
Deep stuff, man.
And his instruments showed that metals get tired too.
Wait, hold on. Metals get fatigued.
Yep, like they need a break. Kind of like living beings.
That's blowing my mind a little bit, gotta be honest. We think of fatigue as a, muscle thing or something in the brain.
Right, but Bose's findings kind of predicted what we now know about metal fatigue in engineering.
Makes sense. Bridges and airplanes are under constant stress.
Exactly, and over time, all that stress can create tiny cracks that lead to, big problems.
So he wasn't just expanding our knowledge, but also helping us build safer stuff. Pretty practical applications for such out-there research.
Totally. And he kept pushing the envelope with inventions like the resonant cardiograph.
Yeah, that rings a bell. What was that one for again?
It measures super tiny pulsations in plants, animals, even us.
So like a super sensitive version of the crescograph.
Exactly. It let him dig even deeper into those shared principles of life, how everything's connected.
A unifying force, huh?
He even thought this cardiograph could one day allow vivisection on plants.
Vivisection? On plants? That sounds kind of intense.
He meant being able to study their inner workings without cutting them open. No more dissecting plants to see what's going on.
So a more humane approach to research, basically.
And his work on Indian plants, fueled by that same compassion, showed they had huge medicinal potential.
Like he was combining ancient wisdom with cutting-edge science.
And get this, the way medicines affected those plants mirrored how they affected animals.
No. That's trippy.
Further proof that we're all part of the same web of life, sharing those basic biological building blocks.
It's crazy to think that some folks back then doubted him.
Yeah, but later research actually backed up a lot of his findings, like that stuff with the Nutella plant.
Nutella. Refresh my memory, I'm drawing a blank.
It's a type of algae, kind of common in fish tanks and stuff.
Oh, right. I've seen those.
Well, in 1938, scientists at Columbia University found that these little algae create electrical impulses, just like nerve fibers in animals.
So he was onto something with those electric signals in plants way before everyone else.
Years ahead of his time. And his work even inspired artists like the poet Rabindranath Tagore.
Tagore wrote a poem about him. That's impressive.
It was a powerful poem calling for India to, reclaim its intellectual legacy and focus on knowledge and progress.
So Bose was more than just a scientist. He was a symbol of something bigger, something hopeful for the future.
Exactly. And his story reminds us that science isn't just about facts and figures, but about pushing boundaries and always striving for something more.
Well said. What really stands out to you about Bose's work? What parts resonate the most?
I keep coming back to his idea that all life is connected, this unifying force in everything. It wasn't just a theory for him, he tried to prove it with his experiments.
Yeah, he never limited himself to just one area.
Yeah.
Physics, plants, metals, he explored it all with this amazing sense of wonder.
And that's what led to those incredible discoveries. He wasn't afraid to ask the big questions, the ones everyone else thought were impossible.
Exactly. That fearlessness, that's what I find so inspiring about him. He showed us that the pursuit of knowledge can lead you down some really unexpected paths, connecting things you'd never imagine.
And he did all of this while staying true to his roots, his culture, and his belief in helping others. He was a global citizen in the truest sense of the word.
His story is a powerful reminder that science is more than just cold, hard facts. It's about curiosity, about respecting the beauty and complexity of nature.
Beautifully put. As we wrap up our deep dive into Jagadish Chandra Bose, it's clear that he was much more than a brilliant scientist. He was a philosopher, a humanist, a visionary who left behind a legacy that continues to inspire us today.
Absolutely. He challenged us to think differently, to see connections where others saw only divisions, and to never stop exploring the wonders of our universe. You know, it's inspiring how Bose's vision, this idea of sharing scientific knowledge for the good of everyone, still resonates today.
What gets me is how his work, so ahead of its time, is still shaping how we understand the world. I mean, we talked about how he influenced everything from plant science to engineering, even how we think about consciousness.
It makes you wonder what other groundbreaking discoveries are out there, just waiting for someone to uncover them.
Bose's story shows us that the pursuit of knowledge never really ends. There's always something new to learn, some unexpected path to follow.
He was never afraid to mix things up. Physics, biology, spirituality. He wanted to get to the bottom of what makes everything tick, living or not. His work was like interdisciplinary thinking before it was cool.
Right. And beyond the science itself, he left this powerful message about helping others, using knowledge to make the world a better place, and approaching science with both, rigor and a sense of wonder.
He really walked the walk, didn't he? A true scientist, always curious, thirsty for knowledge, and with so much compassion for every living thing. He proved that even when people doubt you, you can still make a huge difference.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into Jagadish Chandra Bose, we're left with this sense of awe. His intellect, his dedication, and the impact he made, it's truly remarkable.
He was a pioneer in so many ways. His scientific breakthroughs, his way of looking at knowledge, his fight for social justice, his dream of a world united by the pursuit of truth. It's an inspiration, pushing us to break boundaries, challenge what we think we know, and never stop exploring the wonders around us.
And maybe, just maybe, we can all take a little bit of Bose's spirit with us. That curiosity, that compassion, that belief that we humans can unlock the secrets of nature and make the world a better place.
That's a great thought to end on. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the life and legacy of Jagadish Chandra Bose. We hope you enjoyed seeing the world through his eyes and that you'll continue to be inspired by his incredible story. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those big, bold questions that push us all forward.
Thank you for listening till the end. Please subscribe, turn on the notifications, like, comment, and share with your friends. This will help more listeners to discover our channel and content.